President-elect Trump, my friend, congratulations on being elected President of the United States of America. You are a great friend of Israel.
Well, that was Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu offering his hearty congratulations the day after the presidential election of Donald Trump. You know, it's no secret that the Prime Minister has had strains with President Obama and his administration, especially over the controversial Iranian nuclear deal. So what can we expect will be different in the Trump administration? Joining us now is Ambassador James Woolsey, former CIA director and a senior advisor to President-elect Trump. Mr. Woolsey, always good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you.
If you were to look at one thing, what do you think will be the most important policy change that we will see as it relates to Israel?
Oh, I think definitely the agreement with Iran on nuclear weapons and nuclear technology. It's a terrible agreement. It's the worst I've ever come across in nearly 40 years of negotiating agreements with the Soviets and so forth. I think anybody who brought that agreement back as something that was effective and verifiable would be laughed out of Washington, and the people who brought this one back should have been.
Well, you know what President Obama has said, and the supporters, that it stopped Iran and will stop them from building a nuclear bomb, that they are constrained. Your reaction?
I think it's just fanciful. For example, they can declare anything on the spur of the moment to be a military facility and therefore it can't be inspected. So if I'm an inspector and I start out to go inspect something, before I get there they turn it into a military facility. They never disseminated all of the paperwork that had to be, and copies of different parts of the treaty or agreement that had to be disseminated, and so the steps that are obligatory to us, paying the funds that have been withheld for banks and so forth, should never have been paid, and they can be stopped now. It is really a very, very bad and dangerous agreement because it lulls us into a false sense of security, and it's not going to be an effective constraint on the Iranians.
You know, when I sat with the Prime Minister Netanyahu earlier this year, he was a voracious critic when he spoke in front of Congress. He was more diplomatic to me in my interview with him, saying let's watch, let's wait, let's see, let's monitor, almost in a sense giving them, publicly at least, the benefit of the doubt. But look what's happened already. The UN says that Iran is cheating twice on the heavy water aspect. So what would the Trump administration do when faced with what the Obama administration is faced with right now? The UN itself saying, uh-oh, there's a problem, they may not be complying completely.
The Iranians never don't cheat. That negotiations for them are not about a deal where there's a quid pro quo and each side goes away more or less satisfied. That's totally alien. From their point of view, it's about dominance. It's about showing dominance. And this agreement they are very pleased with because they believe it shows their dominance.
You know, I ran and uncovered a quote from Vice President-elect Pence, but this was 2014, 2 years ago, of course, when just as governor of Indiana, and this is what he said on a visit to Israel, quote, "Israel is not just our strongest ally in the region, Israel is our most cherished ally in the world. If the world knows nothing else, let it know this: America stands with Israel, the most cherished ally in the world." Reflect on that if you could. You know, Britain is the special relationship, France is our oldest, but Israel, the most cherished.
Well, I think that's a good statement. I mean, I would put Britain and Israel together in that. I think that we're headed back toward the old days that some of us lived through and worked on matters in the Middle East, where the U.S. and Israel worked very closely together and had one another's back. I think that's coming back again. It's excellent, and we hopefully will quickly get away from the Obama administration propensity to treat your friends like Israel as enemies and your enemies like Iran as friends.
Yeah, that interview, by the way, was with the Jerusalem Post 2 years ago, and it's fascinating to look back because we are looking forward. Ambassador James Woolsey, former director of the CIA, thank you as always for joining us and for your insight.
Good to be with you.
Of course.